curriculum supplement revolves around the environment and biomes, I couldn't resist bringing in today for you Pavan Gowda. Pavan Gowda is in 6th grade at Glenmore Elementary School. And Pavan already has started his own nonprofit organization called Green Kids Now. And besides that, he has specific passions outside of the Green Kids Now, focusing on biomimicry. And he's going to tell you about biomimicry. He's also going to tell you about his Green Star School program also. Okay? So, no further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Pavan Gowda. And please remember, when he's speaking, to be quiet. And if you have questions, raise your hand and we'll call on. Okay?
So thank you for that wonderful introduction. Hi everybody, my name is Pavan Gowda and I'm the founder of Green Kids Now. I'm also the founder of the Green Kids Conference and I'm the first biomimicry speaker in the world. But today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about my Green Star School program and how to lead to the path of innovation. So, here's my agenda for today. First, I'll be talking about the background and need for my program. Then, I'll be talking about how it's unique. And I'll be going in depth about what is the Green Star School program. And I'll be telling you how you can implement it at your school. So when I wanted to make a program for schools 3 years ago, and when I reached out to different people, they all told me to go back and do more research. So when I was doing my research, I found out that all the information was scattered all over the place. And it took a lot of time and effort just to find what I really wanted. So once I gathered my data, it was another tedious task to filter out my information and see what really can be done at schools. So I had to work with a lot of experts on this. So as part of my research, I also looked at schools that were doing green projects and found out that when I asked them about why they were doing their projects, they didn't know how their efforts were linked to educational standards and the future. So I then decided to make a list of what needs to be in my program. I decided that it needs to be a step-by-step guidance that is available to everyone, and it must be easily adopted at any stage, because some schools might be farther ahead, some schools might be just starting, and some schools might be just thinking to start, so it should be available for everyone. So my program also has to be flexible enough to either take small steps or take a lot of steps and go full swing. So it's also very important that my guidance will teach, educate, encourage, and help improve the school. And when students do my program, they should find the value and meaning and purpose in everything they do. Now schools, at the most, are only doing composting and recycling. So my program has to show them all the areas where they can take action, and the school should be able to lead to the path of innovation. So now, it took me 3 years to finally publish my guidance, and you can check it out on my website, so greenkidsnow.org. And my only request is that if you download it, please provide your feedback so we can further improve the program and make it beneficial to everyone. So, now how is my program unique? Well, any school can adopt my guidelines, even though it was mainly made for the Fremont Unified School District. And since my program is written in easy, do-it-yourself guidelines, you can implement it by yourself too. You don't need an expert to guide you. In my program, I haven't set a time frame of how long it should be done, so you can do it at your own pace. So we also incorporate the STEM areas, and we keep students motivated with hands-on activities. So we also incorporate biomimicry, a method of innovation innovation, I'm sure how and when to set goals and the right way to do projects by providing simple, easy project management guidelines. So, here's my program. Are you ready to hear it? So let's jump right in. So my program helps schools obtain the things in our school status and lead in environmental sustainability. So there are 5 sub-programs to my main program, and the core is to lead to the path of innovation. So now, for example, let's take waste management. So if now schools are collecting bits and pieces for the waste management area, but think they're doing it all, so my program will show them all the ways where they can become a legal zero waste school. So once a school is finished with my zero waste program, they can then move on to the next program and incorporate tasks in that one. So as time goes on, we'll get accustomed to incorporating tasks and it will become much easier. So this is what I have to innovation. I've found 3 stages in the path to innovation. The first stage is the primary stage. So in the primary stage, students will raise awareness and educate themselves. They'll then take action and collaborate, work in teams, and share their experiences. Now working together is very important in innovation, and I'll be explaining why in further slides. Now my 5 sub-programs not only cover the first stage, which is the primary stage, but also cover the next stage, the meaning and purpose stage, where students will find the value and build up interest in what they're doing. And once they get interested, they'll be motivated to do more. So now, once a student has finished these 2 stages, they're now ready to go on into the mastery stage. So in the mastery stage, they'll use their creativity and critical thinking skills along with decision making to further improve the program and make it more sustainable. Now, in order to expedite these 3 stages, we will be incorporating biomimicry, STEM, and project management. Now, have you ever wondered what the differences between an inventor and an innovator? Well, this is how you can remember. An inventor makes new products or services, and an innovator makes these products and services more practical and brings them to reality. Now, some people have both the skills of an inventor and an innovator, while others might be just good at inventing and others innovating. So that's why it's important that innovators and inventors work together so more inventions become innovations. I've also shown that a kind of prosperity will come when these inventions become innovations. So now, when we emphasize STEM in schools and encourage curiosity and creativity, many inventions and innovations will happen. So now, when we see invent and innovate, we need to take responsibility. So my parents showed me this book called Auditorium of Climate Change by Nicholas Stern. And this book was very complicated and I wasn't able to understand a lot. But I would like to share you this quote from this author that says climate change is the greatest and widest ranging failure. So what he means by this is that climate change is more caused by human-made causes than natural causes. So the big companies, when they make their products, they're only looking into the benefits and how they can make money, but they're hurting the environment, and they're leaving it to the next generation to try to solve these issues. So that's why this author calls climate change the greatest and widest raging failure. So life on this planet Earth has been around for 3.8 billion years. But if we continue in the same direction, life will be not sustained for the next billion years. So I would like to bring up this quote from John Sawhill, who says that in the end, our society will be defined by not only what we create, but what we refuse to destroy. So how many of you have heard your peers tell you to clean your room? So I think that this rule should also be applied to the planet. So when we leave this planet, we should not pile up the trash, use up all the resources and destroy all the forests. So while we're moving in the path of prevention and innovation, we need to be able to do it in a way that our actions do not harm the environment and are instead sustainable. So, we are at a decision point. Do we want to keep hurting nature and only looking for short-term gains? Or do we want to preserve nature and look how we can live on this planet sustainably? Unfortunately, we're not the only creatures to be facing the problems that we face today. So other animals have dealt with these same issues, but they solve them in a more elegant and sustainable way. So if we copy the natural world, we can find solutions to our problems, technological problems that we face today, and we can do it at a faster rate, since nature has already done the trial and error process. So this is called biomimicry. Bio means life, and mimicry means nature. So biomimicry is a method of innovation where we observe nature and extract principles from its processes, forms, and ecosystems. So we can use these principles to find solutions to the most challenging technological problems that we face today. So the people who made the built world we're living in, like inventors and architects, are looking at nature to find better designs for living sustainably. So I would like to share you this slide from a keynote presentation from a top company, and they're predicting the waves of innovation. So far, there's listed 5 waves of innovation, and they've gone all the way back from the 18th century. So now they're predicting the 6th wave. Now, the 6th wave will be in areas like sustainability, biomimicry, green tech, and green chemistry. And almost all of these areas will be covered in my program. So I would like to bring up this cover from this week magazine that says that a world with social responsible and eco-friendly practices that could boost the company's bottom line is at its closer to the thing. So we, students, are the future, and the future is now. So we should jump right on the next wave of innovation. So now I would like to talk about my 5 sub-programs in a little bit more detail. So the first program is the Zero Waste to School program. But first, I would like to say that the successful implementation of any program at school, there has to be full support from the principal and at least one teacher. So you first have to form a green kids team if you do not have one already. So the way I recommend you form a green kids team is that for elementary schools, you have about 2 kids sign up for every grade level, starting at 2nd grade to represent the grade. And in higher grades, like 5th and 6th grade, you should have about 1 kid sign up for every section. Now, this green team should not exceed 16 people because it's a leadership team. At the middle school or high school, you should have about 12 to 16 kids sign up. So now the green team will lead all green projects in the school, so they have to be very keen in science. So the green team also has to be self-motivated to drive the results, and they have to be committed leaders that can represent the rest of the school. So if you observe this red forest, what do you see? Is it any waste product? Well, so every leaf and twig that falls down is being used. So every plant, animal, and insect is using the resources that is right there, and the ecosystem is very well balanced. So we need to also learn how to use the resources that we already have, and we should try to strive for a real zero waste community. So how can we do zero waste at schools? So now here are the areas we can focus on. So we can focus on the school campus, in the lunch eating areas, inside the classrooms, and even in the school kitchen. So also, by using your peer volunteers, you can try to reach out to the rest of your community, and for example, you can do this by holding e-waste drives and flow drives. So the Zero Waste program is about a 16-page guidance that you can find on my website. And out of these 16 pages, I would like to talk about the ice disposal process. So now the first step is that you pour the liquids in a pail. And then the next step is that you throw the trash away. Now the reason you throw the trash away first before recycling or composting is that if you don't know where garbage should go, you shouldn't risk contamination the bins, but be safe in throwing the trash, because if you contaminate the bins, all the trash will go away in the floor. So now the third step is to throw away your mixed recyclables. So now if you do not have a tier recycling program already, I recommend you sign up for one. And I also recommend that you have 2 compost collection bins. So the reason you should have 2 is that I found out that food waste is made more at lunchtime. And the last step is to stack the trays. So we want to stack the trays in order to save space in the main bin. So upon successfully taking action in all the areas of focus, and you've shown good results in diverting trash from the landfill through your composting and recycling efforts, you then decide to restart school board. So you should contact your county or city office, and for Alameda, you should contact stopwaste.org. And so now, if you need any help with the nomination process, you should contact the recycling coordinator for guidance. So the next area is water conservation and preservation. So now, 75% of our planet is made out of water, but only less than 1% is fresh water. And because of climate change and the glaciers are melting and turning into seawater, this 1% is actually increasing. So we need to start conserving water. And so now it's also said that wars might be started over water since we're running low on it. Now water is our most precious resource, but for some reason it's also the most wasted. But people in the desert have adapted to using less water, but while we people in the city, since we're so used to having water around, we tend to waste it. So I would like to talk about this Namib desert beetle. So by standing at the top of the sun dune at 45 degrees angle, this beetle can actually take water from the fog. So the scientists are looking at this beetle to see how we can take water from the fog and how we can try to solve some of our water issues that we're facing today. So I'm going to do water conservation and preservation at schools. Well, there are 3 areas where you can focus on. So the first area is the water conservation area. So now water conservation means to use less water. And the next area is water preservation. And water preservation means to do projects like rainwater harvesting and to learn how to use them. Now, if we did the Zero Waste program before coming to the water conservation and preservation area, they'll be able to do water protection, which means to keep contamination away from downstream resources. So I've documented how to do all 3 of these areas in my guidance. So the third area is water conservation and alternative resources. So what does energy conservation and alternative resources mean? Well, our society is growing at a very fast rate, and we soon might not be able to have enough energy to meet our demands. So we need to start conserving our energy. And also 70% of the energy we use is made up of fossil fuels, a non-renewable resource that produces a lot of greenhouse gases. So since fossil fuels are non-renewable, they'll soon run out. So that's why we need to find an alternative resource to fossil fuels, so air that does not produce any greenhouse gases. So now animals besides us have done energy conservation. So have you ever seen white pelicans migrate? Well, when they fly long distances, they fly in a V shape. reason they fly in this V shape is to create an upwash. So now an upwash is when the bird is behind it, the bird in front of it flaps its wings, the bird behind it can actually stay afloat easier. So now the bird behind it can use less energy to stay afloat. So but the front bird doesn't have the advantage of the upwash and instead of stressing the front bird, these birds do teamwork, and so everyone gets a trip. So, how can you do energy conservation and alternative resources at schools? Well, the first step is to know your carbon footprint. So, I've listed all the places you can go to get a carbon calculator, and once you've done your calculating, you then find a place where you're making the most carbon and take action on it. So in my program, I listed the most common places where schools produce the most carbon and ways you can take action on how to reduce them. So now, if you want alternative resources at your school, the green team first has to learn about all available alternative resources so they'll be able to choose the best one for your school. So now, once the green team has chosen the best alternative resource, they can then apply for grants so you can bring these alternative resources at your school. So now, this is a cycle, so now you should be measuring the carbon footprint every year and taking action every year. So now, the next area is the school garden area. Now, the things you can learn from the school garden are endless. So, for example, this cushion plant looks so green and luscious and looks like it's being watered a lot, right? Well, really, it's not. Because of the tightly packed stems, it prevent moisture loss, so this plant doesn't lose any water, and so it stays green and luscious. So now scientists are looking at this plant to find ways that we can conserve water. So now, the things we learn in school garden go well beyond school garden, and we can introduce many interesting topics too, like nutritional values, food choices, sustainability, and the importance of eating fresh and supporting local farms. So now it's also very important that everybody in the school participates in the garden, because then students will feel kind of a bond towards the garden and they want to observe it more. So now the students' observations will turn into their inspirations, and the inspirations will lead to their innovations. So now most of all, a student in the school garden will learn to care and appreciate nature. So when you're doing the school garden, I recommend that you do a lot of hands-on activities like soil testing. So you should test how and when to add fertilizer and what plants can grow in your soil. Now, in order to get the maximum benefit from the school garden, you should set plans and even set different goals every year. So the fifth area is nature conservation. And so a report from the Global Conservation Organization has suggested that since 1970, the pressure we put on this planet has almost doubled, and the resources that we depend upon so much more than 33%. So now, if many people are trying to do nature conservation, why is it so important? Well, people have different interests. So in order for a business to grow, they might cut down forests for plantations, and for their own gains, people might do illegal poaching. So it is everyone's responsibility and duty to protect and preserve the natural ecosystem and species and resources within each of them. So we can help maintain the natural balance that has been disrupted by recent human activity. So now climate change also has a huge effect on biodiversity. Now when you're trying to protect an animal, you should also look at how its ecosystem is being affected. So for example, how can you protect the polar bear if it has no eyes? Speaking of polar bears are beasts, but they're not diabetic. So scientists scientists are studying the polar bear to find cures for diabetes. But if polar bears go extinct, we may never find a cure. How will we lose this genius? Now, here's how we can take action on nature preservation at schools. So the first thing we need to do is study your natural ecosystems. You should learn about the interdependencies and see how they can credit. So the next step is to study climate change. You should understand how climate change has affected the air and sea plants and animals, and how it's going to affect humans. So then you should study your endangered species in your local community. So you should make a list of the endangered species in your community and find out why they're being threatened. So an example of this is frogs are endangered species in many communities, and the reason they're being threatened is because of frog dissection. So instead of using frogs, we should use a digital software to learn. So now, the fourth step is to study your native habitats. You should learn about your native plants and animals and see how they're adapting to your local resources and climate. So you should also take field trips to learn more about nature conservation and preservation. And once the trip is over, you should come back and have close discussions and activities. So you should also do school projects about nature preservation and preservation at your school, and so you can contribute to the local efforts. Now, when you're buying a product, you should make smart choices and see if it might be affecting another community. So now, have you heard about the Girl Scout meals? Well, the Girl Scout cookies would be a palm oil, and in order to get this palm oil, they're putting down big forests in India. So now, if you buy products with palm oil, you're actually indirectly helping to destroy forests. So now, here are a few questions you can ask if you're buying a product. So you can ask where was it manufactured, and what are the manufacturing conditions in order to make this product, and how can we dispose this product once we're done with it. Now, since nature conservation was so important, the Biomimicry Institute has an innovation and conservation program. So I want to share you this quote from Janine Vegas, the founder of Biomimicry, who says that the respect of the field is what differentiates biomimicry from past efforts to dominate, domesticate, and steal nature secrets. So what she means by this is that in past efforts, people have tried to take the thing out of nature, which is bad. So the Biomimicry Institute has a program called Innovation for Conservation, where if a business is to learn inspiration from nature, they have to get some of their profits to help preserve the genius. So we have to all be in the effort to help preserve the genius of nature. So this has been just a brief overview of our program. And now I would like to talk a little bit about our pilot plan last year. So we piloted at 2 schools, Olivera and Chatham. So this is how it went at Olivera. So in Olivera, the school principal and staff were very involved. And instead of a Greenpeace team, we used the student council and ambassadors group. So Olivera started with a zero-waste program, and they're taking small steps and championing it before moving on. And surprisingly, Olivera was an advantage to begin with, because our other school, Chatham, was said to be doing a lot of green projects. But Olivera was producing 1 foot less garbage than Chatham. So Olivera is in the practice stage of captive innovation, and slowly and steadily, Olivera is moving in the right direction. So this is how it went in Chatham. So except for the first meeting in Chatham, there are no teacher or principal involvement, and they started their Greenpeace team by carrying out the nomination process. So now, Chatham has Greenpeace ad hoc recycling initiatives, but we're still producing 4 times as much trash as our other school. So we immediately brought in the compost and food waste program and put 50% Chatborn's trash level. So we also began the Green Monitor class program there, and we showed the green team how to drive the rest of the steps in the zero waste program. And okay, so also the Green Kids team introduced biomimicry, project management, and industrial designing, and we showed them how they can make a solution for rainwater harvesting. But overall, Chatborn is mostly in the primary stages, except the Green Kids team has been exposed to the next stages of innovation. But the biggest challenge at Chatborn was that some parents were trying to take all the opportunities we're giving them and only give it to their kid. But so everyone should have a fair chance of all the opportunities we're providing. Now, here are the lessons we learned from the pilot. So it became apparent that the program cannot stay without one teacher and full involvement by the principal. And the program has to be thought of as a school activity rather than being an after-school program. And everyone in the school must participate, and the school's progress should be regularly announced in the newsletter. So science projects often have to be done at a short time frame, ideally 3 months, because then students might start losing interest. And students must be allowed to give their recommendations and feedback rather than parents just take it over. Now, how can we implement this program at your school? Well, all the materials and guidelines are available at our website, greenkidsnow.org. So all you have to do is go download it and follow the step-by-step guidelines that we provide you. And if you get stuck, feel free to contact us and use our contact information. Now, before I go today, I would like to talk about my next book called Gecko Boy, The Battle of Graphene. So this book talks about the recent graphene issues that we're facing today and also incorporates biomimicry into it. So I'm also very honored to say that the Biomimicry Institute is writing forward for my book. So thank you for listening and your time, and I'd like to invite all of you to my next Green Kids conference on June 10th. So, and I think this flyer is going to come out in your folder. So thank you.